Welcome to the Hive from Pollen VC, your destination for the latest thinking about mobile gaming, apps, and what you need to scale your business. And introducing Peggy Ann Sauls, founder of Mobile Groove, mobile analyst, tech consultant, and your host for today's show.
Thank you, Ricky. This, of course, is the Hive where we usually talk about UA with marketers and how they approach financing to make that growth happen. But today, we're going to switch that around and look at gaming and a model that helps us all level up because it can teach us all financial literacy. That's the point here. And we can have some fun in the process as well because it uses gamification very smartly to do that. It's a cool idea. And it's one that financial institutions and banks get in a big way. No surprises there because they know they have to engage their users. This is why we are going to be speaking with a company they're lining up to be speaking with. It's Tradelite Solutions. It has a platform powered by real and live financial data. So that means this is really trading. This is not a game. And the outcome is deep engagement with the game, deeper understanding of money management skills for us all. Is it metaverse meets money management? Well, maybe it is. Sounds pretty cool. We're going to find out. We welcome our guest today, founder and CEO Tracy Chang, fintech veteran, and of course, as I said, founder and CEO of the company, Tradelite Solutions. Great to have you here, Tracy.
Great to be here, Peggy. Thanks so much.
And you've just launched. So, hey, congratulations, right? Congratulations are in order.
Thank you. So, first of all, Peggy, thanks so much for having us. We are an enterprise SaaS provider, so software as a service provider, in the space that is a cross-sector of games and fintech. So we provide services actually to financial service providers, game providers, media publishers, or education providers within the finance or investment space. Leveraging a platform that we built in-house that we called Financial Entertainment Games Platform, we provide different SaaS products to enable our B2B customers to deliver financial engagement, as you put it, leveraging real and live financial market data, knowledge, or product information, and put that into, let's say, the very fun and unlimited world that are video games. And actually, very quickly on the end user of such games, we really want to make sure what we can deliver is financial literacy, financial engagement to as many people as possible in this world. Hence, using video games, having already a 3.2 billion user globally, and this number is growing as we all know it. We hope we can reach people of all demographic, all ages, different regions and backgrounds.
Well, of course, that would make sense because all people, all backgrounds also need to understand this. I mean, you do not learn this in school. What is the potential for this? Because it is educational gaming at its core, and that's always been a little niche. So how are you going to take this mainstream?
Really good games typically are actually training and teaching you something about a world that you've not known before, about skills and engagement skills you need that you didn't know before. But they do it in such a way that's taking small steps so that you try something, you get feedback, you have clear goals, and you level up, which you feel very proud and engaged of. And this way, they design actually a great balance between difficulty and skills level and achieve what in gaming people call the flow. And this flow actually keeps people learning and wanting to get better in a way that is actually fun. So that actually in all video games, you're learning, you just don't know it. And this is where we see the opportunity.
So you're at that sweet spot, right? We love to game and we are very interested in fintech. What are you seeing beyond that that is the opportunity? Because you have something very special. You have real-time data.
Yeah, exactly. So the very immediate use case for us is customer education and spreading financial literacy because the gaming world allows you to learn and practice skills and get immediate feedback. What we also see as a B2B opportunity for any kind of financial service provider or information or education provider is to broaden their reach to demographics. As you said, right, we spend a lot of time playing games on our mobile. So if we are able to create bite-sized consumable content that are on the mobile, so instead of playing Candy Crush, you're playing a casual game that gives you some information background about financial literacy, about skills you can utilize in real life, that could be both fun and helpful to you. The last piece that I think you're hinting at, what are the real opportunity here? there's already a rise in blockchain-driven games where people are actually allocating their share of wallet into these games to earn and make money. Right. So what we are also making available on our platform is not just crypto tokenized asset classes, but rather if we connect a real world financial institution from the regulated world with, let's say, financial products that are even more relevant to the majority of people in this world and be able to tokenize and bring those financial products into video games. You have an environment where it's safe to enter, to educate, and to learn and to train your skills. And once you level up to a certain level of readiness, you can be onboarded to that bank's product and actually start to invest for real, but not just in cryptocurrency, but really at asset classes that are also common in the world, such as the blue chip stock.
I do know from our prep call that you do have
Yeah.
banks lining up and some fintech apps very interested. So give me an idea of how this can work in practice and maybe what the use case is that we might see simply because they've already teamed up with you.
We have some, let's say, early adopters that have signed up to working together with us, including licensed financial institutions, so commercial bank for one, as well as two fintechs, one from Europe, one from the Middle Eastern region. And all of them have the aim to actually increase financial engagement with their consumer, to increase retention. And what they already know, I would say these institutions are ahead of their peers. What they already realize is the better quality information education that you provide to your customer not only increases engagement and retention, also increases the average revenue per user. Because the better a person understands how I can utilize financial product to improve my life, the more likely I'm going to use those products. And also, the higher the quality of the customer, therefore more educated, the lower the risk to the bank, and therefore overall the customer have a higher lifetime value. So these are the different KPIs we work together with our customers. We're also working with financial media publishers who have a really strong interest in providing interactive content to their users. So reading news and having live, let's say, ticks of pricing information is no longer engaging enough. Users want to actually be able to utilize the information to learn about how to make decisions based on the information. So they're also looking at integrating games. And at the moment, we're working with two financial media publishers in the European space.
You can't name them, huh?
Not yet. I was not able to get approval within the week.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll be listening for that
But
one
we'll
too,
come back
because
for that.
I can connect dots here and I can see a very, very interesting play. It's not just a great play for you and for the banks and fintechs and media companies that are amongst your customers, but also, you know, banks are not very well known for being able to create amazing experiences. That's why they're coming to you for one reason. But they also, even when they have this information, they're going to need a game structure. That means an opportunity for a studio to come in here and build those games. What's that look like? Because this is ultimately about the opportunity for the players in the gaming industry. How does that work? Is that they would be the ones to build this experience ultimately for the customers that you have?
Absolutely. The platform is purely B2B. We are actually, with the platform in itself, creating an ecosystem that is bringing in any kind of game developer, be it independent, be it studios. They would have the ability to access our game development APIs, and we provide actually the backend core mechanics, and we provide SDKs as well as different sample templates of concepts so that they can actually leverage the full extent of their creativity and build games on our platform. These games can then be used as a white label or software as a service solution by the financial publishers or the financial service providers. So this is one way of bringing the two industry together to collaborate and creating new business models for both sides. At the moment, we work with two different game studios and one independent game developer who has surprisingly really a lot of ideas how to create financial games. And our goal is actually next year to open up a game developer game sandbox so that they can access the APIs, play around, and create concept on top, and that we actually leverage the creativity that is already there in the gaming world and further develop better engagement and better concepts. So it is kind of a two-way supply and demand in the B2B sense. So the financial service provider, on the one hand, is supplying the financial products and the content, but they are also demanding the end result to give back to their end user. And from the game developer, it's the same. They're supplying the games, but they're also demanding the knowledge and input on how to integrate financial infrastructure. So it's a true ecosystem, I would say.
So thinking about the game experience, walk me through it a bit. Give me an idea because it's going to be sort of learning by doing, which I think is very exciting because then it's not learning in your face. This isn't a quiz at the end, is what I'm trying to say.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'll give you one example to start, and if you want more, I have a whole bucket of them. If we think about a deck of playing cards, right? So everyone knows a deck of playing cards globally. Typically, we have 52 cards, four different suites, numbering on them. So we actually have an engine on our platform that is the cards engine. But instead of creating a deck of playing cards as they would in the conventional world, we have the ability to create a deck of playing cards with any kind of financial instrument. So if we think, for example, let's take the Dow Jones Index as an example. The Dow Jones has 30 different component companies in there. So what our engine does, if we say use Dow Jones to create a deck, so the engine will create a deck of 30 cards, and it will be numbered 1 to 30 based on the weighted average of the component companies as it is numbered in the official ranking. And in each card, when you flip open the card in your hand, instead of seeing suite and number, you actually see the logo of the listed company, and you see the live pricing information and the performance and any detail a game developer would choose to include in this card. And now think back again to a deck of normal playing cards. The number of games one is able to create with a deck of playing cards, right? We have all kinds of styles of poker. We have solitaire, we have gin rummy, we have many, many kinds of homemade games also based on a deck of playing cards. This is the same for our engine. So we have such a logic, and we can actually use more than just the Dow Jones, right? You can include cryptocurrency information, you can include foreign currency pairs. So you have almost an unlimited amount of financial data that you can use to create cards. And then with these deck of cards, game developers can create different style of game on top. So now imagine we're sitting at a cards table, let's say Peggy, you and I, and there's a third person who is handing out the cards to us. And the competition would be, let's say we each get 5 cards, and not only do we have to have a card hand that is, for example, the typical poker hands like full house or 2 pairs, we also need to maximize the performance of the little mini hand portfolio that we have. And let's say the rule of the game is that we need to check the details of each financial company. So what we're actually doing is, because the game is then triggering us to learn about life information, to read news, to be able to interpret and analyze the information we're reading as a part of the gameplay. And then we make decisions. Maybe we can swap some cards, maybe we give back some cards and get some new ones. And eventually, when we, let's say, show our hands to each other, we compare who has the better performance, and perhaps the person who has a full house gets a kicker on top of the person who only has 2 pairs. So this is an usage example how a game developer can utilize the engine to create a gameplay plus learning experience with real life information combined in one. And just super quickly, the one last hint, if we have a mini 5 card hand portfolio, so to speak, a licensed financial institution can actually create a real financial trading product backing that, so that someone who is really good at this gameplay can then decide, for example, I want to put €5 to my round of card game, and actually I am making a derivative investment based on the decision I'm making with my card hand, as an
That's
example.
well, so you're linking it to what I can do really. I would imagine, game developers do this, and certainly also financial institutions. We can
Yeah.
bring it into a wallet or we can bring it into an account that it's actually hooked up to do this. That when I say literally, I lay my hands on my cards on the table, I put my money where my mouth is, so to speak. This is what I've done, and this is what I'm going to invest in. And since it's real time data, it makes
Yes.
sense. It really does. And I can see the media link. You would pay extra information. You would say, "Oh, I have my virtual currency. Let me get a, let me get a scoop from Bloomberg or something and
Yeah.
buy some of that." When you think about that sandbox that you have set up, I mean, what are you hoping to unlock there?
So with the sandbox, we want to encourage game developers to understand more how they can combine gameplay, motivation, and fun with real life financial data, as well as not just data, but the decision making that is needed to get better by analyzing financial information, right? And then on the other hand, we see really also that should inspire financial service providers to think about how to create products that are more easily understandable and can be integrated as a part of this level of financial engagement rather than having really complex high-end product where actually a person feel like they need to first educate themselves before they can even meet with let's say a bank representative.
Hmm. It's such a cool idea, Tracy. I have to ask where it came from because you're a veteran in the financial side
Yeah.
of if we look at the equation, you come from finance, looking at games, something got you at this cool intersection. What was it?
So actually, my co-founders, Matthias Kerner and Uwe Franke, and myself, we had all been engaged with two different fintech startups here in Germany. These two are both licensed banks in Germany, actually. So one is called DAB, Direct Anlagebank, and the second is
Hmm.
Fidor Bank. Both of these banks provide brokerage service and trading service to the end consumers. And actually, both of these services were, let's say, the firsts in Europe in its own right. So DAB provided actually telephone and then online trading service, while Fidor Bank was the first fully digital only bank in all of Germany. So in order to create customer engagement and to actually evangelize for these new early concepts, we had to utilize a lot of social based media. So creating community, creating direct engagement communication with the end consumers through digital channels such as tournaments, such as voting functions. So we tried a lot of what we call now gamification on the service we're providing. And we saw the uptake and the interest and the motivation of people in that. And we really want to take that to the next level. And having left all those regulated environments, we are, let's say, more free to play around with what we can find. And of course, I think it is no surprise that we all know the growth and the uptake in the gaming industry. So we actually dove really deep into understanding, what is the psychology there? Why are people actually finding games to be a space not just for playing, but for socializing, for transacting? We learned a lot actually from multiplayer online games such as EVE Online, where there are stories of people dealing with PTSD, people dealing with job loss and skills training, and then eventually even meeting their future startup partner in this game. So two people meet in the game, they help out each other so much in building up the skills and performance within this game that they decide to meet real life and start a business together. So we're really inspired by all these stories and more or less this is where it came from and the rest is history. We literally sat down in front of the drawing board and think about how we can combine gameplay with data and decision making.
The gaming side of it, the gaming studios, they're going to need to literally up their game here because not only do they have to make games, great, they can do that, but they have to understand the finance side as well and understand how to make that fun. So that's not always necessarily their skill set. How do you help them improve that?
We have already started working with a few game studios, as I mentioned, to create early stage concepts. And we're actually turning a lot of these concepts and prototypes into a part of our developers guide for the future sandbox and developer community. And we want to actually show them concrete examples in small pieces so that they can leverage those core and build on top of that. But you're totally right. There's still there's a big connect both sides. Financial service, how do they speak the gaming language? Game world, how do they speak the financial language? That is actually, I would say, our number one role and topic in all of this is to find the balance. And if you think back, our goal is to create games and concepts that can bring financial literacy to all people. So actually, the games in itself should also educate the game developers about financial concepts. So
Right.
we're making some early showcases. So what we actually tell to the new game developers is play this game and train yourself a little bit so that you use the game to learn. So they are not just the builder, but they're also the consumer of the games. One last little point on this, we actually now work with game universities. So they're institutions and higher level educational institutions that provide degrees relevant to building and creating games. And we work with those universities as well to engage the students, not only to trigger them and using their creativity to create new game concepts, but also to learn from how they can learn from the games to improve their financial literacy, to increase their financial independence as they move through their student to professional career.
Let's just imagine for a moment and talk about the monetization models for a games company when they work together with you. I mean, is this something that would be, I could see it being subscription because you get addicted to it. You've got the hook. I want to come back. I want to learn more. I want to make more money. I want to make real investment. But what are you thinking about the ways that a game studio benefits in their bottom line from working with you, from working with your platform? What are the monetization models that are possible?
Yeah, so we actually so far have agreements with our game studios where they actually also go more and more into the software as a service model.
Mm-hmm.
So traditionally, I think game studios, they mainly do two kinds of business. One is development for hire, right? So that's a one-off professional service, or they actually develop a game, try to pitch it to a publisher, and then they only earn a small percentage of revenue share after the publisher recover the marketing and sales costs. So what we try to change there is actually to bring the software as a service opportunity also to the game developers, so that whatever they create, because it's on our platform, a lot of the components actually become configurable. So one piece of technology that they create can actually be resellable to different enterprises that want to use that game to achieve their end purpose. And therefore, such a subscription can actually be easily scaled, right? So if a developer builds one game, maybe three different banks or two plus two financial media publisher can all use that same game but configure it differently to achieve different purpose, and that then becomes five recurring revenue for that game developer.
I'd like to understand from your perspective also what you see as challenges for the games studios out there. What do you think they face and how might they even fix it from your perspective?
There's a oversaturation, right, of the market. There are only that many core mechanics that people love, and it's proven over time. So, for example, shooting, jump and run, racing, and there are only that many labels that they can utilize, right, from the actual media world, from Hollywood, to give their game an additional edge. So they are all fighting for the same share of wallet from their end consumers. And with the rise of play to earn games, they're even further being, let's say, robbed of that wallet because people see now already there's some opportunities you can pay money not just for entertainment, but there's a potential for reward, right? So I think games also need to make themselves more and more relevant, as all services do. They cannot stay within their own bubble. In my opinion, that's why there is all these talks around metaverse, and you also see collaboration, cross-industry collaboration between gaming companies with brands, with food and beverage brands, with high fashion brands, because they need to branch out to be more relevant in different aspects of people's lives. And everyone needs to earn money. Everyone needs to know how to save, how to manage that, how to spend smartly. And despite the fact that it's not in any of our education, as you mentioned, it is a relevant topic. So I think game developers are hungry for new ideas. They're looking for new collaboration. And the ones that don't will unfortunately eventually probably get consolidated or will have to phase out.
Well, It's an exciting opportunity that you've outlined, and it's very true. No one else teaches this. And when they do teach it to us, it's going to be a bit dry. So the power of games here to make it fun, to make it also competitive and challenge us, because otherwise we might get a bit lazy. It all fits together really well. I want to thank you, Tracy, for sharing. And maybe just as a follow-up, that sandbox is coming, other things are coming. How can people maybe keep up to date on this other than the website? Maybe you're blogging, maybe you're really active in social. What's the way?
At the moment, we are trying to update everything into our website. We're introducing blogs as well. We managed to post 2 blogs. We'll continue to do so. We're very active on LinkedIn because we're mainly in the B2B space at the moment. But very soon, the next several months, especially at the start of next year, you will start to notice our games also in very well-known media publishers around the world. And look out for Tradelite games, look out for financial games on these media websites if you're an end consumer. And we will also work on actually making some of our showcase games available directly to end consumers as a test lab concept. So we can actually, as I mentioned earlier, gain further input and feedback from the end users themselves, right? So we want to make sure the games are fun. We want to make sure they're good. We welcome people to leave comments and challenge them. So we will also be publishing those games directly to the end users next year.
Excellent, Tracy. I can only say game on. Well done. And great to have you.
Thank you, Peggy.
Stay up to date with our show schedule by signing up for alerts at pollen.vc. That's where you'll also find our suite of financial modeling tools to help you plan and manage your business growth.